Scrivener, Final Draft, Celtx, WriterDuet. There are so many software options out there when it comes to writing a musical. And though there are clear standards for screenwriting built directly into the software, when it comes to theatrical writing, it's a bit less clear. I've tried multiple softwares over the years, but for the past 6 years plus, I've been using Scrivener as my go-to, because musical theater in particular requires a little something extra. So, here's my full review of Scrivener and its use for writing musical theater, and why I think it's a great choice for a lot of people, but maybe not for everyone. First of all, what is Scrivener? Scrivener is a powerful writing software and application that helps writers to be able to organize and manage complex writing projects. Unlike your traditional word processor, Scrivener allows writers to break their projects into individual and manageable sections. You can view them, you can edit them in isolation, or you can zoom out and look at everything on the whole. You can organize everything hierarchically or however works best for you and your writing process. So, why did I stick with Scrivener for musical theater writing in particular? This software is able to handle the structure and format for writing musical theater by doing some little tweaks to the formatting and the templates along the way. Even though Scrivener does not have musical theater specific templates inside the template library, it is customizable and you can adapt things as needed for your writing process, which I think is great. For those of you who are curious, I used the US stage play format for my template, and then I took a few of the commands and I just adjusted them a little bit, particularly so that it was easy to write the stage action piece as well as lyrics. Alright, let's talk about organization and workflow. One of my favorite things about the organizational piece is the left side of the screen, which Scrivener calls the binder. This is where you get to organize your scenes and your songs and your characters and your notes and essentially do it through nested folders, which for my brain is super useful. There's also a corkboard function which allows you to visually represent all of your scenes and songs and be able to reorder them very quickly as well. And I'll say a little more about that feature later on. One of my least favorite things about the editing process, and especially in other software, is when I just want to try moving a scene to see how the flow feels. I want to do it quickly, and I want to try it out, and then I want to move it back when it's stuck. This software lets you do that so quickly and so fast, and it's never been a problem. I can take and adjust and change whole shows around, and then I can put it right on back. And it takes me seconds. Okay, but what about the integration with music and lyrics? Scrivener does not allow for the importing of music notation, which is okay. I mean, I don't expect that of a writing software of this variety. It would be nice though. Just throwing it out there. There is, however, a robust feature for note-taking and specifically attaching that to a certain place or set of places inside your show so that you can have external links, or you can even use an audio file as a piece of reference note as well. And that can be super useful too. As far as lyrics go, like I said, I had to make a tweak to the template in order to make it quick and easy for me, but Scrivener does support rich text formatting, so it's pretty easy to do. If you have any savvy or know-how, or you want to give yourself 20 to 30 minutes to figure it out and make it work for you, it's so doable. Alright, here's a big piece for me personally, and that is collaboration. Obviously, we're writing a musical. We must collaborate, my friends. And here is a moment where I think Scrivener falls a little short. Scrivener does not currently support real-time collaboration, which I think is too bad. If they had that feature, I don't know that I would ever recommend any other software to anyone, but so few of the softwares do have real-time collaboration that it's really hard to say, okay, that's the biggest sticking point. You can export your work in a lot of different files and file types, and then obviously you can share that through a file sharing service like Dropbox or through a Google Drive, but for my money, I wish that it was a little bit easier to collaborate with someone else, particularly someone who doesn't have Scrivener, instead of just always exporting the full file and then sending that over in PDF or a Word doc or whatever works for them. So for my money, this is the biggest downside, but it's also the biggest downside for a lot of these softwares, so potato, potato. Alright, what about the learning curve? That's always a good question. I will say that the learning curve on Scrivener is pretty moderate in terms of size. It's not necessarily a quick onboarding process, but it's also not like learning Finale or Sibelius or one of the notation softwares. Once you're familiar with it though, it's pretty user-friendly and it's a quick Google search to find out anything that you're not sure how to do. There are also great tutorials and guides and community information on the internet as well where Scrivener is concerned, and it is parsed out between Scrivener 1, 2, and 3. I believe the current version is 3, and that's the one that I utilize. Honestly, I get a little overwhelmed when I have to learn any new software, and learning Scrivener felt like it was going to be daunting, but then when I actually got down to it, it was a quick weekend, and then I knew how to use the software, and it's been, well, years since then. I love it. As far as exporting and compatibility, here's something that I think Scrivener does really, really well. You can export your files, and in this case, Scrivener doesn't call it exporting, they call it compiling. And once things are compiled, you can export, which is a super useful feature. But you can pretty much put it in any file type you want. So if you are collaborating with someone who works, let's say, in Final Draft, you can actually export your Scrivener file into a Final Draft file and send that over, which means the collaboration piece is actually not as difficult as it sounds with Scrivener. For my money, this is great and it's super easy and it's friendly with other types of software, so even though I write in Scrivener and most of my collaborators don't, it's pretty easy to export into something that they do utilize and then be able to share across things like Dropbox. As I mentioned that compile feature before, it's actually pretty robust. You can compile things pretty much however you want to. If you have options in your script that aren't officially part of the script, you can compile your script with or without them. You get to choose what goes into the compiled formatting at the end, and I think that's super neat. Let's talk cost and licensing, because I know that's always a question when it comes to these softwares. Scrivener currently costs $49 for a standard license, so that would be either Mac or the PC option. If you want to bundle those together, I believe the cost is $80, and I believe there's also an educational discount off of the standard price, which brings it to somewhere around $41 or $42 instead. This is not a subscription, this is not a recurring number, this is a one-time purchase of $49. Not gonna lie, when I was looking around at a different software to try 6-7 years ago, this was the final thing that sold me on giving it a go. Because if nothing else, I spent $50. And I'm so glad I did. Let's talk customization and flexibility, because I know that's important to a lot of writers. First and foremost, Scrivener is highly customizable, not just in terms of the templates and making tweaks to those. Yes, you can do that as well, but really, you can customize your workflow. And that may be the most valuable piece. I will say I wish I understood the customization options a little more, even this many years into using Scrivener, but I don't take the time to sit down and figure it out, because once I have something that works for me, maybe there's something that works better, but if it's working for me, you know, just do it, you know, if it ain't Baroque. And I hope your musical theater isn't Baroque. That would be interesting. Okay, one of the additional features is that cork board I mentioned earlier, which I love. I'm not someone who likes generally to have an actual cork board. I will occasionally storyboard on a cork board, but having a virtual cork board, say that 5 times fast, that is so much fun for me. It's quick and it's easy to move things around, to type up something new, and the visual side of it is so useful for my brain. There's also an outliner feature for structuring your projects. The outliner doesn't quite do it for me, and I'm a big outline person, so I love this reversal between the corkboard and the outliner. One of my favorite things though is that there's a research binder location. I'm not usually big on research, but Scrivener has changed that for me. When I get to open up the research binder and put anything and everything that I want to in terms of research in one place and organize it the way that I want to organize it, that makes my life so much easier. Honestly, I look at the corkboard and the research feature and I just wonder, like, where have you been all of my life? And as I said, in terms of workflow, you can really customize that as well. You can turn on a distraction-free mode, or you can have access to everything that's in Scrivener in the project all at once. And when it comes to the research feature, one of the things I really love is that you can include in that things like PDFs or images or links and web pages. Pretty much anything can go in there, which is super great useful. The outlining feature is super dynamic as well. I know I said that I don't like it. It's mostly a visual thing for me that makes it not work. But if you want to plot out or plan out your structure, you absolutely can do so very, very easily and in a customizable and flexible way through this feature. Something that's cool about it though is it also is useful for progress tracking. As you finish something, you can literally check it off. You can also set like word count targets and deadlines along the way. So if you're someone who needs a little accountability built directly into your software, Scrivener's great with that. How about technical requirements? Like I said, it's available on Mac and iOS. I didn't mention before, but it is as well as Windows. Go ahead and take a look at the website for the latest requirements. Oh, and also backing up things and syncing information. It's very robust and it's great. I never feel like I'm going to lose my work in any way, shape, or form. And you can also integrate this with something like a Dropbox feature if you want your backups to not only live on your computer, but somewhere else like a cloud as well. Honestly, thank God for this. It's so easy to go back and look at old versions without having to like dig through my documents folder. Okay, so I clearly love Scrivener, even with its shortcomings. Is it a perfect software for musical theater writing? No, but none of them are. But if you want to try this out for yourself, my affiliate link is in the description below, as well as on this card right up over here. Using my affiliate link is a lovely and small way to give back to this channel if you find value here, and I will just say thank you in advance for anyone who chooses to do so. And in the meantime, my friends,
Thank you all for being here with me today, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers!